Several months ago, I created a video here on YouTube in which I spoke about why I choose to use CCS or CGC to press my comics. And that video received a healthy amount of criticism and pushback from people that didn't quite understand why I was going down that path. And my question was, did they take the time to watch the video? Because I think that I did a pretty good job of making my case as to why I choose to do that. But here's the important thing. I have made that decision to go that route, but that doesn't mean that that's the right route for you. And so as I engage people in a conversation around that video over the last several months, I began to articulate to them some things that they should consider should they choose to go with a different third-party presser. And so what I've decided to do is to take those conversations and turn them into a video. Because again, going with CGC or CCS might not be the right option for you. So if you want to go a different route, what are some things that you want to think about? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. This video is sponsored by Shortboxed, the easiest and safest way to buy and sell graded comic books. Download the app today using the link in the description. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we're going to spend some time talking about things that you might want to think about should you choose to use a third-party presser. I want people to remember that my job as a content creator is not to tell you what to do. That's not my job. My job is to give you a couple of things to consider, a couple of things to think about so that you ultimately can decide what is in the best interest of your collection and also your wallet. After all, it's your money. It's not my money, so don't substitute my judgment for your own. But it is in that spirit that I wanted to create this video to give you a few things to think about should you choose to hire a third-party presser. And one of the things that you should consider is getting a referral from a friend. I always talk about getting a buddy, making yourself part of the community. Getting a referral to a third-party presser will go a long way towards you finding somebody that is reputable, that can actually take care of your collection. So if you're not on Instagram, if you're not socializing with people, I want to encourage you to do it. Instagram is a wonderful free resource that we have access to. If you don't want to go that route, think about joining my Discord server. It is also free, and there is a specific channel within the Discord server that is dedicated to cleaning and pressing. There are people there that clean and press. There are people that have used third-party pressers that might be able to give you a referral. They can tell you the ins and outs of who you might want to go to or stay away from. Do not ask Reggie. I do not know any third-party pressers. I do not make any recommendations, but there are lots of people out there that will give you their perspective and will let you know which path you might want to go down. The second tip that I want to offer up is regardless of whether you get a referral or you find a third-party presser on your own, you want to interview them. If you're going to trust this person with books from your collection, you should reserve the right to ask them a couple of questions about their experience. You want to take some time to understand who they are, how long they've actually been doing this, what types of books have they worked on. Are they more skilled with modern comics, or can they work on golden age comics, right? What type of defects have they encountered, and what type of defects, more importantly, have they been able to overcome? Because as you know, not every defect that is seen on a comic is a pressable defect, and some defects can be improved dramatically if the person happens to be skilled or not. So understand their skill set. Look for examples. Don't be shy. Show me some examples of your work. Like Dr. Waldman told me in 9th grade algebra, show your work. You should not be shy about that. So ask them for examples of things that they actually have worked on. You want to make sure that you are comfortable with this person's skill set. And the only way to do that is to ask very direct questions, ask for evidence, trust but verify. The third thing that you want to ask about is insurance. Part of the reason why I use CCS is that I know that they have insurance. I know that if something goes wrong with my comic while it is in their possession, I have some recourse. CGC is insured by Collect Insure, the exact same company that insures my collection, the same company that insures CBCS. So if you're going to use a third-party presser, make sure that they have insurance. Make sure that they have an adequate amount of insurance as well, because you have different levels of insurance, different amounts. How many books do they have in their possession at any given time, and how much insurance, how much coverage do they actually have? It's your book or your books, it's your collection. Make sure that they have the skill set and the coverage that you need. The next thing that you should do is to have them actually do a couple of test presses for you. Before you send over that AF-15 or X-Men 1, you want to send them a couple of books that have some defects, and you want to see how well they handle those defects. Now, what I would encourage you to do before you send the books is to make sure that you take lots of photos. Take great photos with great light so that you have a visual representation of all of the defects that are on your book. Then you send your book off, you have them clean, press the book, you have them send it back to you, and then you can compare your pre-press photos to the books that are in front of you, and you're able to see what defects they were able to improve. You also want to take some time on the backside of those books coming back, that order coming back, to see if the books revert in any way, shape, or form. You could have a book that goes away, gets clean pressed, comes back, looks great. You wait a little bit of time, and all of a sudden that book has some defects. Well, why? Where did those defects come from? Potentially the presser did not press them adequately to prevent reversion. So you want to make sure that you give it a little time to see how things go. The fifth and final tip that I want to offer up here is that once you've made a commitment to a third-party presser, you've done all your due diligence, you've done your research, you've done the test presses, you're now committed. When you send off your good books to them and they clean and press those books, you might not want to have them send those books on your behalf to the third-party grader. You may want to receive those books back. That way you can inspect them, you can see the defects that may or may not be present, and you know the overall condition of those books before you send them off to whoever to be graded. My point here is that you want to be the middleman between the parties. And by being the middleman between the parties, you will know if the presser did his or her job. You will know whether the third-party grader did his or her job, because essentially what has happened, and I've seen it happen many times, is that a book goes into the presser does their thing, they send it off to the third-party grader, that book comes back, and there's defects. And the question is, well, where did those defects come from? Well, I pressed those books incredibly well. It must have been the grader that messed the book up. It becomes a finger-pointing game, but if you decide to insert yourself in the middle and you act as your own middleman, you can, to some degree or another, know whether the third-party presser did his or her job properly before those books went off to actually be graded. So over the course of this video, what I've attempted to do is to offer you a few things to think about and a few things to consider. If you haven't seen the video that I did previously on why I use CCS/CGC to press my books, I definitely want to encourage you to go back and check that video out. Like, I have some legitimate reasons why I decided to go that route. And a lot of what I focused on in this video is learnings to some degree or another that may have come from previous experiences. With that said, I want to wrap this video up. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, I certainly want to encourage you to give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel for some reason or another, I want to encourage you to do that now. Go ahead and tap that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and that way you won't miss out on any of the content that comes out from my channel. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.